Hello aspirants, welcome to EPITOME IAS. This is Mansoor. So we have started this NCERT series, and in this NCERT series, so far we have discussed 4 chapters from 6th class geography NCERT, and today we are going to see the 5th chapter. And this 5th chapter mainly deals with major domains of Earth. Major domains of Earth. So in this chapter, we will be seeing the important keywords. As we know that we are not generally following the traditional way of reading NCERT. So we are following a new way, that is we will be analyzing the keywords, and through that keywords we will be trying to learn the concepts which were given in that particular chapter. Okay, so if you see this particular chapter deals with the domains that Earth is having, and we'll be seeing what are those domains and how those domains are very impactful on every living creature that is present on the Earth. Okay, so without any further delay, if you see this chapter, the domains of the Earth, and before going to start this chapter, so we will be recalling what we have learned in chapter number 1. So in chapter number 1, what we have learned? In chapter number 1, we have seen that Earth, it is the only planet, in entire solar system which supports the life. Okay, and what are the reasons for that? So there might be some reasons. Okay, if you see the reasons why only Earth is having life, if you see the reasons, right, if you see the reasons, the reason is very simple, because on the Earth we are having a life supporting or life sustaining elements. So what are these life sustaining elements? Obviously the first one is land, second one is water, and third one is air. So because of presence of land which is suitable for living, and because of presence of water, and because of presence of air in which is present on the Earth, all these three will be acting as an sustainable elements which supports life. So in this chapter we will be saying that, see, this land is nothing but lithosphere. In this chapter he will be explaining that these life sustaining elements, which is land, water, air, as land, he noted it as a lithosphere, and water as hydrosphere, and air as atmosphere. Okay, so because of presence of lithosphere, because of presence of hydrosphere, and because of presence of atmosphere, it is making life sustainable on the Earth. And see, here there is one more important domain or one more important keyword, that is called as a biosphere. So what is a biosphere? Biosphere is a narrow sphere or a narrow area in which we will be having these three life sustaining elements. Okay, so or we can tell that biosphere is that zone where it supports the life, and this life supporting nature or life supporting domain is created with the integration of lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. So this is a basic fundamental idea that we should be having while dealing with this particular chapter. Now if you go into this chapter, as we told earlier, so in first paragraph he will be explaining about this lithosphere, atmosphere, and hydrosphere, and in this next paragraph he detailedly explained about lithosphere. So what is a lithosphere? Lithosphere is nothing but, what is a lithosphere? See, lithosphere is a combination, or we can tell that lithosphere is an solid surface of Earth. And where we can find this solid surface? We can find this solid surface in crust and upper mantle. Okay, so crust plus upper mantle, generally we call it as an lithosphere. So if you see here, this lithosphere will be having two important things. One is lithosphere will be having continents and ocean surface. Okay. And if you see here, in lithosphere, we understood that lithosphere is a combination of crust and upper mantle, and in this lithosphere we will be having two important things, that is one continental lithosphere and oceanic lithosphere. So now important point here is we will be seeing about the continents. That means in this chapter he mentioned about the continents which we are having, the 7 major continents we are having, and he explained about the 5 important oceans that we are having on the earth. And in this chapter he explained that each continent is having certain important features. So all those things were discussed in this particular chapter. So if you see here, as I told you earlier, see, if you see the ocean surface, usually what happens is we know that there are 5 important main oceans, and all these oceans are connected with each other. Okay, we cannot exactly tell that continents are connected with each other, but the important concept to be noticed here is there is a concept of plate tectonics. Plate tectonics. So as per this theory, as per this plate tectonic theory, we can understand that there are 7 major important plates and there are some 21 minor important plates. And if you see this 7 major important plates, majority of the continents will be covering under these 7 major plates, and this Pacific Ocean plate, this also will be covering under these 7 major plates. So we cannot tell that all the 7 major plates alone will form 7 continents that we are having. No, there is an important plate, that is Pacific Ocean plate, Pacific plate. In this Pacific plate, exclusively we will be having only Pacific Ocean. Okay, so the point here is, if you notice from the outside, if you notice from the from higher levels, or if you notice from at a certain kilometers, you will be seeing that oceans are connected with each other by some or the other way. Oceans are connected, but you cannot exactly tell that continents are connected externally, but internally if you see, yes, these plates are once they were connected, and after drifting from one plate, drifting that happened between the plates, these continents were moving, keep on moving, and these continents were separated from each other. Okay, right. So if you see in this chapter, he explains about the continents, and as we know that we are having 7 major continents. What are they? First continent will go from Asia. Okay, so first is Asia, second one is Europe, then Africa, then South America, North America, Australia, as well as Antarctica continent. This is a basic thing which we already know. And now here the important point is, if you see this Asian continent, this Asian continent is the largest continent. Asian continent is the largest continent, and through this Asian continent, the important latitude, that is Tropic of Cancer will be passing through this Asian continent. And there is one more important point. This Asian continent will be separating from European continent, or in between Asia and European continent, there is an important mountain range. That mountain range is Ural mountain range. So what is the importance of Ural mountains? Ural mountains will be separating European continent from Asian continent. Okay, and if you see this Asian continent is entirely in Eastern Hemisphere. Eastern Hemisphere of Earth. So what is this Eastern Hemisphere? We know that Earth is having 2 hemispheres, that is Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere. Then what about Eastern Hemisphere? Here Eastern Hemisphere means, if you consider the entire flat surface of Earth as a piece of paper, as a flat surface, you can find Asia here. You will be finding Asia in eastern side of the Earth. Okay, so we can tell that Asia is in Eastern Hemisphere. And see, we know that Asia is separated from Europe, but there is certain land where both Asia as well as Europe will be combined, and that particular area we call it as an Eurasia. We call it as an Eurasia. Okay, so these are the important points that we should be knowing about Asian continent. Then the second important continent is European continent. So if you see this European continent, even this European continent is having some important feature. The second continent is Europe. So when compared to Asia, the size of Europe is very small, and this continent is towards the Asia, west side of Asia, and through this European continent, through this European continent, Arctic Circle will be passing. Arctic Circle. See, Arctic Circle is nothing but 66 degrees and of north latitude. Okay, so this Arctic Circle will be passing through European continent, and if you see this European continent, you will be finding, or you will be noticing that it is bounded with water. It is bounded with water on three sides. Bounded with water on three sides. Okay, so these are the important points that should be understood regarding this European continent. Okay, then the next important continent which was given in this order is African continent. Third continent is African continent. So if you see this African continent is the second largest continent after Asia, and through this African continent, and this is the only continent where the three latitudes which are important, that is Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Cancer, and Tropic of Capricorn plus equator. All these three latitudes will be passing through this African continent, and if you notice, majority of the African continent will be in northern hemisphere. Majority of the continent will be in northern hemisphere, and in this African continent we can find Sahara Desert, and this Sahara Desert is the world's largest hot desert, and this desert is present in Africa, and in this African continent you will be finding a Nile river. What is the importance of Nile river? This Nile river is the world's longest river. This world's longest river, which is Nile river, it will be passing through this African continent. Okay, so the next important continent is North American continent. North American continent. And if you see this North American continent, here this North American continent as well as the South American continent, or else South America or else North America, these two continents will be connecting through a small passage, and that passage is called as Isthmus of Panama. Isthmus of Panama. So this Isthmus of Panama will be acting as a transition zone or passage zone between North America as well as South America. Okay, and if you see this continent lies in mostly northern hemisphere, and it will be lying towards the western part of Earth. Okay, so this is the important point regarding North American continent. So then, if you see this South American continent, the next important continent is South American continent. So this South American continent, obviously, it lies in southern hemisphere, and this South American continent is having Amazon river, and this Amazon river is largest river which is present on the earth. And in this South American continent, you can find Andes mountain ranges, on western side of this South American continent. So the next important continent is Australian continent. This continent completely lies in southern hemisphere, and this Australian continent, it is surrounded entirely by water. On four sides, it is having water. It is surrounded by water. Okay, and because of this reason, because this continent is surrounded by water on its four side, we can call this particular continent as island continent. What is meant by island? Island is that area where it is surrounded four sides with water. Okay, right. So the next important continent is Antarctica continent. So if you see this Antarctica continent is entirely located in southern hemisphere, and in this, through this continent, we can see that Antarctic circle will be passing through this continent. And one more point is, we will be having a South Pole located exactly in the middle of this continent. Okay, and see, because this continent is present near the South Pole, this particular continent is not suitable for not suitable for living. So because of this nature that Antarctica continent is having, this is very near, or this is present at South Pole, this entire continent is occupied or surrounded, or else it is occupied by ice sheets. So it is not properly inhabited, and particularly in this Antarctica continent, many countries are having their research stations, and India is also having two research stations. So that is Maitri and Dakshin Gangotri. Okay, that was mentioned in this particular NCERT. Then, so this is regarding the lithosphere. On this lithosphere, as we discussed, we are having this continental mass, and on this lithosphere we can find this oceans as well. So now, if you want to learn about oceans, obviously we need to learn about hydrosphere. So first of all, what is meant by hydrosphere? Hydrosphere is that zone where all the water is present on the earth. Okay, or else we can tell that all the water content that is present on the earth, we call that particular sphere as an hydrosphere. And if you see, majority of the land that is present on the earth, it is covered with water. So if you see in percentage wise, 71% of land on the earth is covered with water, and only 29% of the land is not covered with water. Okay, and so because of that reason, because of the reason that it is majorly surrounded with water, we call earth as an blue planet. Why? Because if you see from outer space, earth looks like a blue colored ball. So the reason is very simple, because of presence of so much of water. Okay, and here the important point is 97% of earth water is found in oceans. So that means this water which is present in ocean will be having more salinity, and this water is not suitable for drinking. So only remaining 3% of water, in this 3% of water, majority of the water is found in which zone? majority of the water is found in ice sheets and glaciers. And remaining water, if you take out these ice sheets and glaciers, only less percentage of water is useful for drinking. And because of this reason, very less amount of water is useful for drinking, even though we call Earth as an blue planet, even though we are having a huge number of huge amount of water presence on the Earth, but the drinking water is very, very less. Okay, that is irony which is present here. Okay, then if you see ocean, as I told you earlier, majority of the hydrosphere or majority of the water which is present on the Earth, it is covered by these oceans. And if you see, we are having 5 oceans. We are having 5 oceans. What are they? These oceans are first important ocean is Pacific Ocean, then Antarctic Ocean, then Arctic Ocean, then Indian Ocean, then Atlantic Ocean. So we are having 5 oceans. If you see the order, first will be the Pacific Ocean, second will be the Atlantic Ocean, third ocean is Indian Ocean, fourth ocean is Southern Ocean, or else we can call this Southern Ocean as Antarctic Ocean, Southern Ocean, and fifth ocean is Arctic Ocean, Arctic Ocean. Okay. Now if you see here, Pacific Ocean, this Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean. Okay, and right, I will write it here. This Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean among all the 5 oceans. And if you see here, Mariana Trench is found in this Pacific Ocean. Mariana Trench. What is mean by Mariana Trench? Mariana Trench is a point which is which is present in this Pacific Ocean, and it is the deepest point that is found on the entire Earth surface. Okay, so this Mariana Trench is present in Pacific Ocean, and if you see the shape of this Pacific Ocean, majority this Pacific Ocean is in circular shape. Okay, this ocean is in circular shape, and one third of Earth is covered with this Pacific Ocean. Okay, and this Pacific Ocean will be touching the important continents, that is Asia, Australian continent, and as well as South American and North American continents. Okay, so this the ocean which is present in this side and here. Okay, so this entire water body, it is called as an Pacific Ocean. And the next important ocean is Atlantic Ocean. See, if you see this Atlantic Ocean is the second largest. Pacific Ocean is the first largest ocean and Atlantic Ocean is the second largest ocean. If you see the shape of this Atlantic Ocean, shape is S shape. Okay, and here the other important point is this Pacific Atlantic Ocean will be in between the North American, South American continent and European continent, as well as African continent. For suppose if you see here, if you consider this as an North American continent, and if you consider this as an South American continent, and this as an Europe, and if you consider this block as an Africa, this is Europe, and in between these continents we will be having this Atlantic Ocean. Okay, then third important ocean is Indian Ocean. And if you see the shape of Indian Ocean, this Indian Ocean, we can find that this Indian Ocean is in a triangular shape. This Indian Ocean will be in triangular shape. To the north of this Indian Ocean, we will be finding India, or else we can tell that to the north of this Pacific Ocean, we will be having Asian continent. Okay, and the fourth important continent is Antarctica continent, sorry, Antarctica Ocean, or we can call it as an Southern Ocean. And this Southern Ocean is entirely, or else this Southern Ocean or Antarctica Ocean is completely near the South Pole. Okay, and exactly opposite to this, near this North Pole, we will be having Arctic Ocean. Okay, and here the Arctic Ocean will be connecting with the Pacific Ocean through a strait called as Bering Strait, and this Bering Strait is an shallow water region. Okay, then the next important keyword given in this chapter is regarding atmosphere. So what is meant by atmosphere? Atmosphere is a gaseous chamber that is present or that is surrounded on the earth. So if you see this atmosphere, so in this atmosphere we will be finding important gases. In this atmosphere we will be finding some important gases. First gas is nitrogen gas, second oxygen, and third important gas is carbon dioxide. See, these are the important gases that are present in atmosphere. So if you see this nitrogen helps for the growth of plants, and this oxygen help for human beings, human life, or any other life that is present on the earth, and this carbon dioxide helps to keep earth warm. So if you see the important characteristic of this carbon dioxide, see, from sun we know that we will be getting incoming solar radiation, and from the earth the heat will be radiated back, and we call it as an terrestrial radiation. Okay, so we'll be learning what is incoming solar radiation and what is meant by terrestrial radiation in further classes. But if you see this carbon dioxide, we tell that carbon dioxide is a harmful gas, but because of presence of this carbon dioxide, life existence was very easier. See, what does this carbon dioxide do? For suppose this is atmosphere and this is sun. Through sun we will be getting some incoming solar radiation. For suppose this is the carbon dioxide which is present in atmosphere. What does this carbon dioxide do? This carbon dioxide will be reflecting back the incoming solar radiation, and in the same way, from earth surface, whatever radiation that is transmitted back into the atmosphere, even that radiation or that heat is also transmitted back towards the surface of the earth. So because of this reason, it will be not allowing too much of heat, or else it will be not allowing too much of heat escaping from the surface. So because of this particular reason, carbon dioxide is very important for our existence. Okay, then see, depending upon the temperature and depending upon the other properties, composition, this entire atmosphere is divided into 5 parts, 5 layers. What is that? First layer is a troposphere, second layer is a stratosphere, third important layer is a mesosphere, and fourth important layer is a thermosphere, and fifth important layer is exosphere. Okay, so if you see all these spheres, all this troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere, these spheres will be playing an important role. They are having important role. Okay, and if you see the relation between the temperature and the relation between the pressure with these spheres, see, first of all we will be seeing the what happens in these spheres. So for suppose if you see the temperature, what happens is, whenever there is an increase in height, that means if a height increases, if you are going into the higher layers of the earth from the surface, what happens? Temperature will decreases. That means there is an inverse proportion between a temperature and the height. Okay, and in the same way, if you see density, even if you are moving to the higher, if the height increases and what is the relation? Density will be decreasing. So that is why it will be very tough for those people who are climbing the hills, the mountains. So there they will be they will be feeling it very difficult for inhaling. There the presence of oxygen, there the density of the air is very less. So that is why the mountaineers will be carrying oxygen cans, oxygen cylinders with them. Okay. And if you see even pressure also, if you are if the height is increasing, obviously the pressure exerted on that body will be reduced. Okay. So all these things are done because of presence of these spheres, and every sphere is having an individual characteristic, and the characteristic of every sphere that is present in the atmosphere we will be learning detailedly in the upcoming classes. Okay. So in this 6th class what we have to understand is, we need to understand that atmosphere means it is a layer of gas chamber. It is a chamber of gas, or it is a layer of gas, and this layer we are having some important gas which are very important for our life survival. And this atmosphere is divided into 5 layers based upon the temperature and the composition, and those 5 layers are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. So this is the basic thing which we need to learn from this particular chapter. And the next important point is biosphere. So what is a biosphere? Biosphere is nothing but it is a narrow zone where the lithosphere, where the hydrosphere, where the atmosphere will be present. Okay. So because of presence of this biosphere, this narrow zone, the life survival is very easier. And if you see here, what happens in this biosphere? In this biosphere, you will be finding smaller species to larger species. Okay, you will be finding n number of species that were present, that were created in this biosphere. And in this biosphere, you will be finding a lot of habitats. What are the different habitats that were found in biosphere? We will be finding forest. We will be having grasslands. We will be having deserts. We will be having coastal areas. Okay, and we will be finding the important ecosystem that is important for survival of human beings. Okay, so biosphere is an important narrow zone where we can find all the three important components or three important domains of the earth. Okay, we know what are the important components or important domains that are important for survival of life on the earth. Okay, and the point here is, see, all the 4 major domains are interdependent on each other. What does it mean? For suppose, if there is any change in one sphere, obviously it is going to have effect on the other sphere. Okay, so the importance of interconnectivity is also an important thing to be noted. Okay, so that is what is mentioned in chapter number 5. So we will be seeing the chapter number 6 in next video. So until then, thank you for watching this video. If you are having any doubts or if you are having any queries regarding the content, you just reach EPITOME IAS through your comments. So if you are having any doubts, kindly do comment in the comment section. So thank you for watching this video. We will meet in the next class with chapter number 6. So with that chapter number 6, we will be completing the entire 6th class geography NCERT. Okay.